there's been a lot of talk going around now about this guy Dylan Mulvaney, guy, girl, he, she, they, whatever. That they became famous for the whole day one of being a girl and day two. This is a grown ass adult who doesn't identify as a woman, identifies as a girl. And somehow, in less than a year of even identifying as transgender, they've become the spokesperson of the trans community. Of course, appointed by the straights and the not trans people, because that's generally who appoints the leaders of the minorities, and it's usually the most stereotypical, terrible human being. And speaking of stereotypes, let's just give a little bit of a look at some of Dylan's highlights, and you tell me if I told you that was a person mocking trans people and mocking women, if you would believe me, because it just seems like that's what Homeboy's doing.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. Day 28 of girlhood, and being a girl is so expensive. I have done some financial damage in 28 days. Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them. Do you want to have fun? It's my 221st day of publicly transitioning.
God love it. And is it not appropriation for a man to dress like a woman?
Oh, I forgot that my crotch doesn't look like other women's crotches sometimes, because mine doesn't look like a little Barbie pocket. That y'all can shop to get my dream sleepover experience. Oh, speaking of, my order is here. I have the delivery, first things first, skincare. And I'm warning you beforehand, I eat mostly junk food, but we're having a sleepover, so it's allowed. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. I still have room in my dessert stomach, so we're having ice cream. I think we start with prank calls, and then put a finger down. Then we'll go around and manifest all of our dreams and goals for the rest of the year. Then a rom-com, and then we can paint our nails, and we're gonna stay up all night long. Visit the link in my bio to shop Dylan's Sleepover Essentials via Instacart now.
Now put the cringe aside of Dylan thinking that women, part of being a woman is hiking in heels and dramatically falling when they're afraid of bugs. But then there was the whole thing about when Dylan and the other guy with the beard, who I think says that they're a she also, despite definitely beard, like a way better beard than mine, which is crazy with all the estrogen they're probably taking. Can't imagine what it would look like if they didn't take the estrogen. They probably just, epic beard. So jealous. But it was interesting to watch 2 biological males basically go on a podcast and mansplain, what a word, what it is to be a woman. And let's see that.
I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day. And I absolutely can. The constant critique I was getting was like, oh, this girl thinks it's all about makeup, thinks it's like womanhood is all about wearing dresses. Because I didn't know anything else. I hadn't had an opportunity, babe. Give me a minute. Give me a year.
And of course that led to some massive boycotts from the TERFs, as they call them. TERFs, which I guess is just code word for feminists who want it to not be about biological males. Because now we've gotten to a point where somehow being born a guy and just saying that you're a woman has made your opinion on womanhood more valuable and more reliable and more credible than someone who's been born female and lived it throughout their whole lives, which is very odd. But it's so much like that now that this person got invited to speak to the whole ass president of the United States.
Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming healthcare?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. As a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong.
Now, with all the transgendered people that there are in the world, it's amazing that they took somebody who is less than a year into this transition, that they have become such a spokesperson for what it is to be transgendered when there are so many other options out there for people that have transitioned actually fully, both from male to female and female to male. People like Blair White and the Buck Angel, people that have been living it, people that have done it, people that have actually put in the actual effort to be transgendered. And they're not just people who seem to be living out some type of sexual fetish more so than some type of mistaken and confused identity disorder. And if you don't believe me, here's another thing that Dylan did that is just very strange.
Day 74 being a girl, round of applause for the makeup, and I wore this outfit shopping today, and I thought that these might be my new shopping shorts, but I was walking around and everyone was staring, and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? And they were all staring directly at my crotch. And I went, oh, I forgot that my crotch doesn't look like other women's crotches sometimes, because mine doesn't look like a little Barbie pocket. And I thought, okay, Dylan, you have some options here. Number one, you can stop wearing clothes that fit like this and just find looser fitting items. Number two, I can do a tuck, which is going to have to be a whole other video, but it's very painful and involved. Or number three, I just normalize it, and I wear clothes like this, and we all just normalize women having bulges sometimes, because we're coming up on bikini season, baby, and you might see a bulge or two. So, normalize the bulge. We are normalizing the bulge. Women can have bulges, and that's okay. We're not gonna stare at their crotches while they're wearing their little shopping shorts at the mall. Oh, thank you. Love you. Bye.
Now, that is not necessarily something that somebody with some identity crisis or experiencing would do. That is something that somebody does when they have some type of sexual fetish, some type of voyeuristic, hedonistic, exhibitionist type of sexual kink. And that's what's seemingly being lived out here. Because if you notice, Dylan is talking about having his junk hanging out and not even identifying as an adult female, an adult woman, but identifying as a girl and girlhood and infantizing, what's the word? Basically being an age transitioner as well, which we've seen go terribly wrong in so many other situations. But and then when the truth comes out, of course, you find out that there was absolutely some type of sexual fetishing going on there in this process. And when somebody's there identifying as a girl, they're an adult and they're transitioning into a small child, there's generally some type of extreme issue happening up here and is almost always predatorial. And I just think that we need to start calling out this Dylan Mulvaney guy for what he is, which is somebody who is basically appropriating gender transition in order to live out his sexual desires, his sexual kinks of his sexual kinks being put on public display, which is like a kink on top of a kink or whatever. It's like people who wear like the collars and they drag people around on a leash with a leather mask on in public, and you're just like, what the fuck is? It's like that, except he's like, oh, look at me, I'm like a girl. Oh my god, oh bugs. Like, see how easy it is to just do what Dylan does? There's no effort behind it. He just wears dresses and he just acts like every single stereotype that you think of when you think of stereotypical dumb women. He calls himself a bimbo after all. Like, what in the world is that? His first day as a woman, as you guys saw, was him talking about how much he cried. He talks about, oh, I'm on my period, which means I'm being bitchy. Like, for a group, the LGBTQs and the wokes and the intersectional feminists, the best type, who want to just get rid of every single stereotype, who use the stereotypes as a justification for their own belief system and their ideology surrounding transgenderism, where it's like, oh, kids, boys don't have to like blue. They can like pink. They can like dolls. Girls can like trucks. But then when it comes around to transitioning, they always end up just becoming the most stereotypical version of the opposite sex that they can get their hands on, that they can be performative enough in a, not necessarily a convincing way, but in a way that is just satisfying to them in terms of, well, women are emotional. I'm going to cry a lot. I'm going to scream when I see little bugs and ew, gross. And I'm going to like talk about tampons and hand them out to people in the middle of the street like anyone does that ever. Who does that?
5 of being a girl, and I've been carrying around tampons and pads for the past 2 months, but I've actually never opened one up. So let's do it. Woohoo! I thought the letters stood for small, medium, and large based on the size of your Barbie pouch, but after a Google, I found out it's actually the level of your flow. So there's super, regular, and light. I guess my question is, which one do I carry around? The super? Because maybe if you have a light flow, you can still use a super? I don't know. Here goes nothing. It's pink, it's kind of adorable, and it kind of looks like a butter churn. So you just go like that? Ow. Where does the string go? You are getting sleepy. Now for the real magic, I've got a glass of water in the tampon. I almost put red food coloring in there, but I thought that might be too much. And we're gonna see how this works. Oh, it kind of looks like a butterfly. How long does it take to get to this? One looks like it would do the job.
Who does it? And where do you put, Dylan? Where do you put the tampon? What? But that's really all I can stomach right now. I apologize for putting you guys through watching some of this stuff, those highlights of good old Dylan Mulvaney. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think that I'm right, that he's just a big giant fraud and that this is just some sexual fetish thing that he's living out? Leave a thumbs up. Even if this video made you puke, I understand if it did. And subscribe to the channel so I can get more followers, maybe start getting some money, and I won't have to do these types of stories anymore just to try to get higher views, even though by the view count it probably didn't work, because I'm right back to a phony strike and a shadow banning by the YouTube lords. But thanks for coming by.